I think for most Americans, it's, you know, the first reaction is, what is that about? But, you know, it's harmless frivolity.
What it is about is something called Morris dancing, being practiced by the Brasstown Dancers this day at the renowned John C. Campbell Folk School. They're getting ready for an upcoming performance at the annual Best of Our State at Asheville's Grove Park Inn.
Normally we do this kind of thing in street. So we're now trying to take our street dancing mode and turn it into a stage show, so that folks can sit there in the Grove Park Inn and see what Morris dancing is all about.
The name comes not from a man named Morris, but from a variation of spellings for Moorish dancing, dating from the 15th century. The Brasstown Dancers have adapted forms from Elizabethan England to represent folk life of the time.
It's in Shakespeare, it's in Samuel Pepys' diaries, it's all through the history of English literature, because it was something that happened in village life.
So we are not ready for prime time with that step. And it's difficult to judge what everybody else is doing, because some people are facing one way and some people are facing the other way.
We've got dances that are probably relatively unchanged for 100 years or so, because they're real simple and they're just right. But we've also got things that we've made up.
The rural Felicity Garland dancers have styled themselves after 19th century textile workers. Imagine a group of weavers taking an exercise break to get the kinks out of their backs from working at their looms all day. The Dames Rocket Team presents a style from the English Midlands called Claude Morris, which might owe its name to the fact that they wear wooden shoes.
Now, in 1938, King George VI and his Queen, Mary, came to Washington, D.C. to visit President Roosevelt and Mrs. Roosevelt. A program was presented at the White House by a group of dancers from right here in the Asheville area. And as they were watching these dancers do their steps and run through their figures, the Queen Mom sort of poked Eleanor Roosevelt with her elbow and says, "Why, it looks just like our clogging." And that's why Appalachian clogging today is called clogging. Ladies and gentlemen, among the many kinds of Morris dancing, there is one that is recognized as the most dangerous, the most violent, and the least precise: Border Morris. Not only is it violent and disturbing, at times they even sing. Every morning as sure as the clock, somebody hears the postman's knock.
Border Morris is serious stuff, with the dancers' faces painted blue for combat. They wear rag coats and have a good dose of attitude.
It developed along the border between Wales and England, and in England, and most of the explanations from the English people that we've gotten were that this was mock combat designed to show those Welsh what they'd get if they came over the border.
Every morning as sure as the clock, somebody hears the postman's knock. Now, folks, you may not believe this. We are not professional dancers and musicians. We are, in fact, nurses, potters, teachers, doctors, dishwashers, carpenters, weavers, spinners, storekeepers, farmers, speech therapists, archivists, audiologists, blacksmiths, engineers, and sculptors. And some of us have not yet figured out what we are.
rapper sword performs in a style that originated in the English mine country and dates from just after the Crusades. They use not a sword, but a tool that at one time was used to scrape sweat off the mine's pit ponies.
They discovered that if you hold both ends of this and got real close together, you could run through a whole intricate, impossible looking dance without ever turning loose of either end of it. And it just looks totally impossible. And that's why we love it.
We learned this from an English dance team, and for a while we couldn't put our finger on what that traditional English tune was that they were playing, and we finally figured out that it was a tune by Buddy Holly.
The band is an eclectic mix of whatever instruments people have and like to play. It typically includes a couple of fiddles, an accordion, a few horns, several drums, all having a lot of fun, adding to the distinctive and memorable sound of Morris dancing.
The way that people learn this stuff nowadays, though, is mostly through the internet. And we have learned tremendous amounts of things looking at films and videos from England. And we get email from England saying, hey, we saw you gave us rockets at New Year's. That was pretty cool. And so it's, you know, it's a great big community now. And we find that it's really fun that we have these people in England that are learning dances from us. That's pretty nice.
As Jan points out, perhaps the greatest treasure contained in Morris dancing is the pure enjoyment people get from this fascinating, ever-evolving folk art. Whether audience, musician, or member of one of the dance teams, it's gratifying, they say, to be able to dance a piece of history, and sometimes add your own steps to the tried and true old figures. But most of all, Morris dancing is a group of people doing something they absolutely love.
We say that our purpose at folk schools is to bring folks together. And that's just what happens when you get folks together. Sometimes crazy things happen.